Hello, beautiful souls. So I'm going to try this video again. I got call interruptions and I had to also stop because I just couldn't take the brightness in my eyes anymore. Something about the fog and the weather coming in. I don't know. The light's just refracted weird for me. I don't know if you can see it through the back window. So I've decided, since I've been doing a lot of videos and not putting them up, and that I want to do that for a reason, because of experimenting with being ahead of my astrology again, which is something that is important to me. Because to me, it's kind of like if you can see what's coming beforehand through yourself because you are the astrology, how in tune are you with yourself? And I'm healing that on different levels. So I've been trying to check and or live ahead of that. And I've done different experiments to try to do that. And what I've noticed most of all is I'm going back to how I was before I got my second brainwashing, which was when I was in extreme place of abuse. And I learned to shut off so much that it was almost like I was in a flow. Like when I'm dancing, I can stumble, mid-spin and catch myself and turn it into a dance move and keep dancing. And so to me, this is kind of like I'm trying to describe what I'm talking about. To me, that is where I'm trying to get back to energetically, because I received energy from that in my life at that point. So I need to recheck things in my own neural network and get them, to me, ahead of the matrix. Like, to me, that is being a real channeler. To me, that is more the gifts I had before, where now it's not that I don't have the gifts, it's that I don't process the same way because my neural network is different and so is my mind. And I want to make it clear that I am not saying here that I am God, the singularity, ever. I can only be a fractal of the Spirit of God because it's in me. And nobody's seeing their Spirit of God anytime, because if they do, it means they're dead. That's why no man's seen God at any time. So getting ahead of my astrology, I wanted to point that out and then go back and talk about my feelings, because this is a vlog and I'm going through removing trauma in everything, my lineage, my life, myself, on purpose, because that's been my path, not looking for it, but obviously that's what I did, in a roundabout sense, only because, not because I'm going to play into the left, right, left guilt games, but because I'm going to say, we're always aware of ourselves and we'll always call that fate, it's said, until we realize that it's not fate, it's our choices. And I'm not saying that on a way where the white light BSers that are really Luciferians and Satanisms and just use that as a language to lie about who they really are, just like Christians do that are, actually perverse. So because I've been in all these things, I can talk about it, but I'm not always sure if I'm explaining it right. And so for me, it's easier to write it. And so I've been writing. When I'm usually not on here talking, I'm usually in a stage where I'm more inspired to write. I wrote a lot of poetry that I never use poetry not as a spell, because it's your Holy Ghost moving through you, so it's God, and therefore it's not a spell. I don't think about the words. It's like when I dance and they just flow into the next. Why? Because people say that's channeling. No, I say that's flowing in your Godhead, or your toroidal fields imploding. And I was doing that before without my heart chakra open, because that's who I was then, and that's all I knew then, and that's all I experienced was horrible abuse until I got that open, which is funny because that story is a little bit abusive too. That the shaman that I ended up seeing, I had figured out after takes life force too. And I'm not going to judge them for that. That's who they are, but I'm not going to tolerate it because I know what it is. And all I can say is if that's the truth And Spirit says, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it is. And I can't doubt it because of all the patterns. I mean, literally waking up at night and getting downloads and a package about what this person said. And I can't remember shit people say. Like, that's how it happens. That's how I channel. That's my biology. When my toroidal field implodes, that's how I act and react. So I've been trying to get more into a place where I don't think about my actions. I don't think at all. I just put myself in a flow state. Because when you're in fight and flight in an abusive situation all the time, you have to be able to do that. It's like going in and out of your body. Like deaths. It's the only way I can explain it. Ooh, beautiful, a heron. So, I've been getting more back into testing that, being who I was, trusting the flow of things, because I lost all that because of the person that was taking my life force, put the locks on my chakra. And then, getting healed by this other shaman woman and finding out she's the same bullshit is great, because now I know how to heal people like that, because I've been through it, because I've had to do it multiple times, and I know how to heal myself now. So I'm not ever going to go to anybody else for healing again, unless somehow, the world puts me in a place where I trust that. And I'm only going to trust it until my heart is like, getting out of here. And if you don't at that point, and you don't know how to be perceptive enough to know that, you won't leave a situation on time. So people who don't understand this are not going to understand this. I cannot live closeted, as I will say in previous videos that are kind of tough, that I put up when I was going through a lot and writing through a lot of defensive poetry, which is spells, because you're spelling, you're casting, you're saying with your lips. And if you're conscious that you're God, you're not going to doubt yourself, or you're a fractal of the living God, if people have a hard time with hearing God. Because I don't even like the word God. It's like the singularity of everything that we are, that goes on ever. That's what it is to me. And so I can't put people or pendulums or anything over me as God. I am interacting with people and with things and with belief systems that believe they are the God. And so I can interact with those things and use them, my knowing that in this earth I am all those things. I've experienced all those things. Being a star channeler, being a love light person, being a witch, being in the Illuminate camps, which I say, again, are not a religion or necessarily a hardcore group of people, but a people that have hive mind to a certain belief system, such as Christianity. Why are people so hardcore stuck to it? Because it's a pendulum. So that person was in a pendulum or using the pendulums to do what he wanted to as a shaman to hurt me, so he could get my life force and my gifts. So this is why I share my gifts, and I have to share my gifts because it's part of my calling and it's part of my healing. And if I don't do it, I'm going to get hunted down till I do. And either way, I could think of it the other way around and be scared of it, but I don't think of it that way anymore. And yeah, like I said, it's beautiful. And sharing gives me such a glow up. When I am out of my house where I live, just walking out the door and breathing the air for a few minutes, it's like it lets go of so much weight and so much dross and so much heaviness from these people and their environment. And of course, how I feel about them when I'm around them. And everything's electrical. So if you want to judge me, you're judging yourself. And that's where I'm getting lately. I'm getting back to who I was and balancing that. Trying not to be too rude and crass when I'm in the mode like I was with the Mercury starting and the Libra and the Mars placements and things I may have talked about. I don't know if I posted those videos. But I need to start, attending better and putting more things up. So I'm going to start reading things that I write on Facebook or things that I put in my poems and sharing. And I'd said I was going to do that before, but then I get out of it because I get drawn back into the drama of the initiates that are making my storyline, basically, because that's how I have to think of it to keep my head straight. And I'm not calling myself or playing the victim, but when I play the victim, I'm playing the part for a reason, to get the SHIT out of my auric field. It's been depressed, I can't implode, and then I start acting like Sheila before Sheila found her heart and her soul and contacted that with a oneness. Like I've said before, this is what I believe about God, and this is what's in the Christian Bible. That would mean the Muslims, Christians, Jews believe this, and New Agers believe a lot of that stuff too, because of this reason, because it's biological. Thou, O God, so who's God? Thou, O God, are the field about me. This is an energetic field, by the way, we're speaking of. My glory, which is my chi, the lifter of my head. Your Lord, they always say, is your third eye. But it's when your third eye is clear and the field is imploding and you're able to then see what's coming at you, who's coming at you, what's going down. If you're constantly in a place where you're triggered and abused, you can't utilize that. That's why they abuse you. And you can't, narcs, you can't put it over on them because you can't see shit coming. And because you're so attached to the being buffeted, going down that line where you're being beaten, the flogging line, and crushed, that you have to learn how to go on autopilot and trust that if you're going to survive, which is a part of what people would scientifically call trauma. But if you're aware of it while you're doing it, and you're doing it for a certain reason, to have a certain energy, to make a certain outcome when you speak, and to finish it off in the ethereal, astral that's inside. So I do what I gotta do, and I bow to my soul. Okay, where am I? Is this okay? How long should I stay in this energy? Well, Sheila, use it as the stars are using it right now. Where are we? Look it up. You have that privilege now. You know it in your gut, but now let's expand upon that knowledge, that energy. Like when you do this, you're stretching out your own energy in Tai Chi. When you feel your energy, it can be done in your mind, not just with your body, and it can be done with your mind, body, and emotions all in line, and it can be done in a state of flow where you don't have to think about it anymore. So taking that knowledge from my trauma, I'm therefore now able to integrate it and use it for my behalf around dangerous people and people who are zombies because they're not awake yet and they don't know who they are, or they're in a school of thought, a pendulum, and they're being controlled. Or if they really are shamans or whatever, they can see above all of that and decide how they want to control things. But if they need your biology to do it, they're not as strong as you. They don't have the mental capacity. And this is what was being taken from me, because having ADHD, being brought up in trauma, and then traumatized your whole life, you learn to adapt a neural network in different ways than other people ever can or will. And you can call that autistic, or you can call that crazy, or mental illness, or whatever. But now that stuff is being coined spiritual or on the shamanic path, which I am. And that involves dissolving in ego deaths over and over, as I've shared before, for that in and out stretching, that yin and yang pull to get your balance back. So I'm going to be sharing more, but it's hard. I can't share at the house. I have to go out every day to have any space by myself, because I can't even share poems or be me in there. It's just, I can't. And that's how it is right now. And that's the yin-yang tension right now. And I'm going to utilize it. And, finding out I had another, 4D entity put on me on my back, through the spine, through the opening, the moving of things, the assemblage point weakening you, weakening the mind, making you over-emotional, over-dependent, all the stuff they do. And I just get to observe and see now how I can use that to crush my enemies, which is what I channeled and said all this was going to happen before it happened. Why? Because we're creating our own story, either in awareness or unawareness. And you judge that within yourself, because it's going to take you a long enough time to do that without being in a judgmental state. So you actually see that it's a good thing, not a bad thing. And it becomes a good tool, not a bad tool. Surviving. It's called mental survival skills in a world where people are purposely attacking the mind all the time. So I'm getting back into my flow state. And I always needed dance to do that. Now I'm just needing the movement of these solar energies and going in and out of my heart space so I can keep awareness, learning my balance. And my awareness stretches out every time, if that's how I can explain it. When I find my center again, it's even stronger. I'm even more awake. The flames, burning brighter. And I see more, and my third eye clears more, and I can see curses, and I can see people doing them when I close my eyes. And so if you're not psychic and you're like, why do you do thus and such, these people, why would you go where there are ghosts? Why do you talk to dead people? Why does it happen to you? Either you're awake to that and you can utilize it as it comes, or you can't. And I've shared all these things before in other videos, but more probably in my trauma state and not explaining it as concretely. So right now I'm in a writing stage. Right now I need to be. So right now I will be sharing those and kind of probably backing up and making comment on my own previous videos and the state of mind I was in, because I was angry that people can't rise above what they think they are in a clique or a group, and so they destroy everybody's lives around them. And it triggered me a lot, and I needed to have that anger, and I needed to utilize that anger to stretch and grow and increase my flame and my knowledge, and then say, okay, I get how you're each on your path, but if you get in my path and you fuck with me, that's all that matters. And I don't say that in like, I'm going to hurt someone. No, you're going to get hurt, because I'm just going to stay in my center. So I'm going to know what to do, when I need to do, how I need to do it. And generally my only fall in that is having pity on people or doubting myself. So as much as you doubt or don't doubt yourself is how much you allow other people's energy in, and those curses and all that bullshit. So yeah, I've been hermiting more and writing more, but I can see with the weather change and the earth coming awake, especially the earthquake really seemed to release a lot of tension in me. It was like rolling, built up. Couldn't explain it, but now I get it. I was feeling it coming, and that's cool. I like that. And also the astrology, but how much can you differ? I don't know. How much can you sense within yourself? I can't explain that to you, like just that I do, and that I know what it is, and I recognize it. Sometimes not till after the fact. So this is my whole spiel. The sooner you recognize things as the third eye clears, and you're able to know when that punch is coming, know when that thing is coming, or know what it is, and just accept the fact that you need to roll with the energies, and maybe you won't know what caused it till after, but what does it matter? Because you avoided what you were conscious through and avoided what you needed to. And that to me is having the third eye open, and it's the only way you're going to survive what's coming down within yourself and without yourself, depending on how much you collectively create with that and utilize that, or let it utilize you and your energy. So sometimes I let things outside of me utilize my energy too much, and then I form a thought form. And if that energy goes back to people that don't deserve it, then they're going to take it and reel it in. So in the evening, sitting in the space of no mind, or in the morning, just heart, just bow to my soul, is just an exercise I use to purify my mind. And eventually I get back into a flow state. And every time I do, I comprehend what that means more and more. So getting out of your heart space isn't necessarily a bad thing. And actually being able to use that in the current astrology and in the current weather on Earth is meeting the above and the below, within, without. That's something, people got to understand on their own. because it's not about love light. It's about light and dark, above and below, within and without, left and right, and utilizing all that in one center within the self and being fully conscious of it all being you, because you are utilizing it. And hopefully, if your Merkaba and your toroidal field are pulling enough at the right speed at the right time, and then you get mixed off and you know, get involved in the affairs of this life. As a soldier, you can't do that. You got to stay in your heart space. You got to stay in the right space in your mind. And as soon as someone fucks like that with that, you got to walk away. Because they will feed off your energy, they will become addicted to it, and they will abuse you. So 20 minutes to say all this, I'm going to start doing readings. Astral more readings, quoting my poetry and my writings than I am actually probably going to channel like I usually do. And give much longer speeches that I don't know how to break up on my phone, or they'd be shorter. So more short vlogs, we'll see how that goes. I don't know, but I am going to be reading my stuff and commenting, so if I start commenting it may take longer, but I've done this before, so I'm backtracking with the energy and feeling it out and doing it again. So that's what I'll be posting. Thank you.